friends, this is Jessica, the Sweetwater Stitcher, and today's Tuesday, July 1st. Welcome to the middle of the year. I cannot believe we're already to July. It's about to be the 4th of July, and I thought it would be fun to do a mid-year recap. So for today's episode, I am going to show my finishes I have thus far. I am going to show the projects that I have started, and some of the finishes were also starts, but unless I remember, excuse me, I'm not going to specifically say that. And I'll try to tell all the details I can remember. And then, so what I've started, and then a little bit of plans. I kind of have a very loose plan for the rest of the year. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. And then I do have a couple charts to give away. My regular scheduled floss tube will resume next week, and I will have the giveaway winners from the previous video announced there, and I'll also announce these giveaway winners on that video. So no winners today, but I will have a few at the end. So if you stick around, you can maybe win. So I first wanted to share my finishes, and these are all finishes. They were either things I had stitched and I fully finished, or they were fully finished or finished stitches. So I'm going to switch my camera so it's easier to share, and I am going to share those with you. So, and this is, to the best of my knowledge, the order I finished them in. So the first finish I have this is Key to My Heart by Brenda Gervais, and I just so happen to have the pattern here because I am going to, this is one of the giveaways. So she finished it on a pillow, or as a pillow. I finished it on this board simply because I stitched it on 36 count, and I believe that this is Toasted Almond by Fabrics by Stephanie, and then I used all the called for colors. This was a piece of barn, like the wall that I had got from Chantel. She was selling barnwood at one time, and I bought that, and then just some striped fabric on the back. But this was my first finish of the year. And in the same time, I also finished, let me make a little room here. I also was fully finishing this. I finished stitching last year, and I had it sitting on my table to fully finish. So I was able to fully finish Big Hearted Tiny Town into a pillow. Again, this is on 32 count, which is what they call for, and I used some Tilda fabric, and I just tied some baker's twine on there. So that was the next, and this was just a full finish. The Key to My Heart, I finished the stitching and the actual full finish. The next one is going to be Tis Spring, which I'm going to put a photo in right here because I couldn't find the pillow. But that is a chart by With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais, and I fully finished that one. I had already finished the stitching, and it was just sitting waiting. The next this is a free chart from Hello from Liz Matthews. And I'm going to write all these in the description box because I cannot remember the name of this. I want to call it Always, but I want to say it's Follow the Arrow or something. I cannot remember the name of the chart. And of course I forgot to look it up. But this is on a piece of fabric that I dyed. It's like a light pink. I used the called for floss, and then I used some of the Lady Dot velveteen on the back, and this one and Key to My Heart sit in my room all the time, just kind of over in a little display. But this, I've had the stitching done either I finished the stitching in 2024 or even 2023, and it was just waiting to be fully finished. The next one is, this was also, I finished stitching this last year, and it is from, I think it's called Summer Trio. It was 3 summer pillows from Hands On Design. She has them with fabric around and more of a square pillow. Nicole Spohr last year was doing a stitch along where she was sharing or she was creating these and turning them into biscornus. I was going to do it because you can see I have the stitching around the edge, but then I just decided just make it into a pillow so I could display it. So I did use this is Tilda from the Creating Memories line, and I had used all the called for colors, and this is on, I believe, natural or flax. It's either 32 or 36, I can't remember, but it's just an easy throw it in with the display. I do really like having the fabric on this side, so if I wanted to, I could stick another pillow in front of it and I wouldn't be hiding any of the stitching. So this was by Hands On Design. My next fully finished from January was Let It Snow, and this is from the Snowball book by With Thy Needle and Thread. I used all of the called for colors on the called for linen, which I believe is Patriot's Brew by R&R. I used a pin from Just Another Button Company, a snowman. I don't remember if this was part of a pack that they had for it or not. And then this is from the Creating Memories line from Tilda, which you'll notice I use a lot of the Tilda fabric for the fully finishes. And then the last finish I did in January, and like I said, some of them were full finishes and some of them were some of them, the stitching was also finished, and some of them I had just done the full finish. So this is my last finish from January. I did finish stitching this, which is called 100 Ways by Plum Street Samplers, and I framed it, and I still need to put something on. I need to put some paper on the back because it's and a hanger, so it's just sitting up on a shelf right now. But I did get the frame from Hobby Lobby, and I just love how this came out. The variegation in the back of here, I love that as well. And this was on a piece of 32 count. I want to say it was a Picture This Plus. It's a super, super light pink, Bashful maybe. And then the colors are all the called for colors. So that was the last finish I had in January. Then, in going into February, I was able to fully stitch and finish Maggie May. This is one of, trying to get it in the right place. This is one of the animal crackers from Stacy Nash. I finished it using Carrie Tiger Lily, her tutorial, and I did switch the sweater color to Sanguine, which is already in the pattern. So I didn't add any colors, I just changed the sweater. And then for the detailing in the pocket, I used Red Pear, which is also in the pattern already. So I didn't add any colors, like I said, but you can see how cute that is. I love her. She sits in one of my stitching boxes. And I pulled this out. I am pretty sure I FFO'd this in February, but of course I couldn't find the note on this. But this is Queen of the Needle by Brenda Gervais, And I stitched this last year, and when I was finishing Maggie May, if I recall, I found this in my box of fabric. So I did fully finish it. It's on a piece of 40 count Thornfield using the called for colors. I believe I did change the I think I changed the dress, the color, or the called, I changed the color I used, but it was still a bright blue. I had some chenille from Lady Dot, which I think really complements the dress. And then these are pins I just bought from So Pretty Pins. They're so cute. And then again, a little bit of the Creating Memories fabric. But I love this, and this sits right behind me when I film. So that takes me to March. And then in March, I was able to fully stitch and finish, hop into spring, or I guess finish stitching because I haven't fully finished it. I do have this was a market release from With Thy Needle and Thread, and I was able to finish stitching. This is Pyrite 36 count, called for colors, everything, and I have the finishing board from Chantel, and this was from Market. So I quickly came home and got this all stitched up. In April, I finished stitching. This is my little sampler by Running with Needles and Scissors. I finished this for my youngest daughter, Madison, and I was stitching this for her birthday. I did change the colors to a conversion that Rebecca Parker on Instagram, I saw her stitching it at StitchCon a few years ago and loved her colors, and so I looked at her photo and did what she did. This is 40 count sand, I believe, by Picture This Plus, and I need to take this to the framer when I pick up my other pieces. So this was an April finish. And then my other April finish was this lovely piece, and I want to say I should have pulled the chart out. I think that it is called Brambleberry Bird. It's by With Thy Needle and Thread. I did change the colors to some color and cotton. I previously have talked about it. These are some heart pins I bought from So Pretty Pins. And then in the bottom, this is a paper mache box that I painted, and it's on real tight. In the bottom, I put some Tilda fabric. So I do kind of display it like this, or you can display it on its side. But I love this. And I used a rickrack that is by Fiber on a Whim that I had previously bought at a retreat. So that was my April finishes. And then for May, I'm putting in a photo here of Happy Day, and that is at the Framer. That was by Plum Street Samplers, and it was a piece for Sampler Guild of the Rockies, and that's getting framed, so I'll have that at my next video. Then I also have Strawberries and Stripes. I'm putting a photo of that in as well. That was a piece that I used as my smalls exchange for the Farm Girl Dry Goods Retreat. And so I have a picture of that. And then my next finish is Liberty. This is by With Thy Needle and Thread. This was from Market, and it continued on this way. And it has an eagle, which I will most likely stitch in sometime this year for the 250th anniversary. I wanted to separate it to make it to fit on this medium everything board by Chantel from 141 Design Company. I stitched this on 36 count dry toast by Shakespeare's Peddler. I did change the house color to Dove, and because I did that, I switched these motifs to a white color. You can see it good on this picture or on the video. However, I do kind of wish that I had left them in Mountain Mist, because when it's sitting where I have it sitting, it's a little bit hard to see these Quaker motifs. But it's okay, and I'm not going to do anything about it to change it. But if you are going to stitch it, you might want to leave them the darker color. But I wanted something to fit on. I wanted to have a finish on this board, and so that's how this piece came to be. And then I just tied a little bit of this silk ribbon from, some of it's from Lady Dot, some of it is from Monahan paper. So that was my May finishes. Then for June, I was able to pull this finish out. This was from the Keeper of the Pins book by With Thy Needle and Thread, and I had started stitching this a long time ago. This is, I believe this is a 32 count petty point, because I was using 2 strands, and the white doesn't look perfect, but it's a needle book, so it doesn't matter. I used some chenille and I turned it into a needle book, and using some of the Acufactum fabric that I had gotten from my club that I'm in with Willow Cottage Quilt Company. So I just love this. It was fun. I brought this with me to the Brenda Gervais retreat, and I just used a little lace to tie it with. All right, my next finish was, and this I turned into a fully finish, was America by Crafty Bluebonnet. This is on 36 count Winter Brew by R&R. I did change the colors a little, and then they're supposed to be white around these stars. I just left that off, and I decided to turn this into Housewife. And so I used, this is some ribbon from Monahan paper. The fabric is all French General wovens. These are pins from So Pretty Pins and some chenille. So I have at the top a place to put needles. Then this will fit a 5-inch hoop. And then at the bottom I have, my scissors. And then it all folds up. I'm trying to get it in the right place for the camera. It all folds up to tie like this. So I absolutely love this. I have a lot of pillows, and I'm still working on some more small patriotic pillows, but I just thought it'd be fun to have this to use as kind of for all of my patriotic stitching in the coming months. My next fully finish was Stitching Quaker, and this lovely piece, I did change the colors, and I stitched this on, oh my goodness, I can't remember the name of the fabric now. It's from Live and Die LA. I love the fabric color. It's all in an Instagram post, and I switched the colors to match some of the Tilda Creating Memories, or some older Tilda fabric. And I used a little bit of lace from Lady Dot Creates, and I finished it on this block that goes inside of, let me grab it real quick. It goes inside this box from April at, oh my goodness, I cannot think of what her name is right now. I'm going to link it below. But this is how I have it displayed with some different pieces of stitching. And this piece, I'm pretty sure April did put that she was having to put her shop on a break because she had a family emergency. Homestead Needleworks is the shop, but I'll put a link below in case it is back open. But this will fit the stitching Quaker. It originally was designed for a hands-on design piece. It will also fit the stitching quilt by Primrose Cottage, but I just thought this was a fun, different kind of display to use for the Quaker besides making a pillow. And I've had this box for a while and I haven't used it. So that was a fun finish I did. I also was able to finish stitching one of the pillows from Summer Trio. This is by With Thy Needle and Thread. This is the called for colors, except for the letters are supposed to be in a brown, and I changed them to this teal color, which is, I believe, deep fennel, or it's teal frost. I think teal frost, which is already in the pattern. It's the color of the bird, but I didn't want them to be brown. This is on 36 count Spindrift, and like I said, the colors are all the called for. So this is one of the 3 pillows from With Thy Needle and Thread. I also finished, and I'm putting a photo in, Liberty House by With Thy Needle and Thread, and that is at the framer, and I should have that back as well. And then my last finish so far this year was I was able to fully finish my Gingerbread House needle book by Stacy Nash, and I finished stitching this last year. It was a class at the Jingle Ball. On the back, I didn't stitch the back of it. I just put a piece of the fabric, this is the linen, on the back. And so I finished stitching it last year, but I never fully finished it. And I thought it would be a fun piece to fully finish so I can use it for all of my Christmas and July stitching. So now that I'm sharing it, I'm going to put it downstairs with my Christmas and July. I'm probably going to make a little basket and Christmas-fy it. I'll show that on my next video when I share some of my Christmas and July other stitching, but sorry for moving it all back and forth. But that was my last finish so far this year. So I'm going to take a break, switch out my pieces to show what I have started so far this year. Okay, so for this year, what I have started is the beginning of the year in January. I decided to start a sal with Carrie Tiger Lily Designs, and so far neither one of us are doing very well at this sal. So the sal was Anniversaries of the Heart, and I was going to do them all together. Then I decided I think I'm going to, after I didn't get very far on this one for my husband, which this is how far I've gotten, I decided I'm going to do them all separately. Now, whether I frame them or make them into pillows, that's a whole nother story. But this one I was doing for my husband, and this is where I've gotten. And then I do have in another bag, and I don't even think I started this. Let me see. I think I did actually. This is the one that I started for my middle daughter. Oh, I do have it. And I changed this to 36 count boardwalk. And oh yeah, it's just, I have a little bit at the top started. And these were the colors I was using for hers. And this is actually fun to get this stuff out because it does remind me of some pieces that I'd like to work on. So I would like to get back to this. I just haven't really felt like it, but after Christmas and July in August and September, I really would like to try and get back to some of these pieces that I started just start what I started thus far in 2025 and see if I can put some more work into that, to them. So that was my first start that I have. And I didn't iron anything. I wasn't going to get this done if I did that. So I'm trying to have them as flat as I can. This is Spring at Hollyberry Farm, and I was stitching this as my blessing sampler, and then I quickly figured out that I do love the piece and I want to get back to it because I got a lot done, but the colors are very muted and very neutral, which is very much Stacy Nash, and that is why I like her, but I was just kind of getting a little bit bored. So this fabric, I want to say is, I wrote it down, I think. I want to say it's 36 count creme brulee by R&R. It's either creme brulee or espresso. I can't remember. These are the colors. I did add a red in there. I'm unsure. I was thinking about putting some red bricks in this part. I haven't decided yet because I think it's a brown, but I was thinking about putting a little bit of barn door in that part. So after stepping away since January, basically, I feel like I could get back to this, and maybe if I could set a goal to get it done by the end of the year. We'll see, because there's other stitching that, of course, I want to get done. But I do believe I could have gotten it finished, but like I said, the colors were really not exciting me, and so I just put it away and said, that's fine. And just because you set a goal does not mean that you have to meet the goal. And if you don't, nothing is going to happen. So I just have had to come to the realization that if I don't meet the goal, it'll be okay. My next start, and I'm pretty sure this was in January. Now I'm kind of questioning myself, did I start this earlier? But in any event, it was a shepherd's song by Plum Street. I think I wrote this down that it was a January start. And this is where I got to. So if you can see, I was trying out if I wanted to change the flowers to blue, which is what Christy from Crosshatch Quilt, and I believe Jordan's changed hers to blue also. But I feel like on my linen, which is a 36 count latte by R&R, or latte by Fiber on a Whim, I feel like the pink looks better. So I'm going to stick with the pink. But this is how far I've gotten. I would like to get back to this. I'm sure I will be saying that about all of them. But like I said, this was a fun idea that with talking with a friend came up with. Instead of doing a traditional whip parade, this was a way to see all the things, because I like to start all the things. It was a way to see what I had started, and it's definitely making me want to get back to some of these pieces. So this was A Shepherd's Song. And this year also I was focusing on, or am focusing on, Plum Street and Stacy Nash, which is why a lot of my starts are Plum Street and Stacy Nash. But I did also, I was working on have been working on others as well. This is the next one. This is called There Is Liberty by Plum Street Samplers. And here's what it looks like. And I started this, I believe it was for MLK. Teeny tiny start. This is either Dolly Madison or Oh, let's see, here we go. Yep, it's Dolly Madison by Needle and Flax. And that is where I got to. So this would be a perfect patriotic piece to put in my patriotic bag to pull back out. And I might even like leave this whole top part off and just do the town. We'll see. Okay, so that was, oh, I have one more from January, and this was, I've started this a couple times, and I just, every time I see it, it makes me want to stitch it, but I never like loved the linen that I was picking. And so what I had decided to do, and I tried to convert it to silks like Caroline at the Attic, didn't like my conversion, so I went back to all of the called for cotton, and then I pulled this piece. This is Buttermilk by Live and Dye LA, which I felt was a very close representation to the photo. The called for is 36 count Legacy by Picture This Plus, but I felt like this was a really close match to the photo, and I honestly, I forgot I restarted this, so I would love to get this back out. It is so pretty. The pinks are really pretty. So that was my start on Manor at Quaker Hill, and this is the fabric if you're interested. I really like her linen. Oatmeal is the color of for the Stitching Quaker. Of course, it just comes back to me. And so a lot of these are just in plastic bags because that's how I store my whips if I'm not working on them, is I will just put them in plastic bags so that I'm not taking up project bags. And then when I'm ready to stitch on them, then I'll put them in the project bag. So that was my January of my starts. And then in February, and I think that this was from February. I don't really know when this came out. I just found it and I never finished it, so I thought I'd show it. Vintage Sampler by Lori Holt. And this is how far I got. I pulled colors by Color and Cotton, and I found this in my basket, and I thought I need to get back to this and get this finished. I did take the purples out, and I'm kind of picking colors as I go. This is on 36 count Pyrite by Cedar River Linen. So I think this was a February, maybe it was March, I don't know. Whenever it came out, I bought it and got it started. All right, I also, this was from Market, but I had it ahead of time because it was a piece from Sampler Guild of the Rockies. So the cover for this looks better now. This was the cover that we originally got. This is Audie's Pink House. And so I got, this is how far I had gotten. I started working on it in anticipation that it was going to be coming out at Market. And so I have, it was, this is a little bit of a mess. So excuse my nice mess of colors. I got this, like I said, from Sampler Guild of the Rockies. It was I think it was like a fundraiser or something like that. So I need to get back to this because I do want to fully finish this on Chantel's Rustic Rhythm board that she came out with at Market for Teresa Koget, some of her pieces. All right, I also started in February. This was for President's Day. It was working on Liberty House, and I originally was stitching it with the called for colors. And then I realized that some of these reds, they're so pretty in the photo, but they're much, much darker which it's funny because that's how American Sampler House is as well. And for that, I'm using a conversion from Carrie Tiger Lily. So I did decide to pull my own silk conversion. And I think they're all on here. I can show you the card. I might have taken one of the brighter reds off to use for something else. But I pulled my own conversion. This is what it is. If you want to take a screenshot to brighten it up. So I'm using 40 count Maritime White by Lakeside, and I would like to get back to this. This could be like a 4th of July, even though I already started it, use it as my large sampler. I want to work on kind of like a 4th of July piece and then have it done maybe by next year. We'll see. But I love this. I love the house is just really, really big. So it's slightly intimidating. My next piece was a very generous viewer. She sent me this lovely book from Blackbird, the With Thy Needle and Thread book. And I did start, which there's other things in here I want to start too. But I started my Quaker house. Let me see if I can find a better picture of it. It's this piece. And I kind of did my own conversion. Similar colors, but a little bit. This is Milk and Honey. I did not get very far. So I was starting at the very top. It's very long and skinny. So again, just something to get back to. These are some of the other charts in this book. But that was a special piece, and I wanted to get something started in there since I was gifted that, and I love that. All right, the next one this was from Market. This is Ruth Grace from Little Robin Designs. And oops, this was one of my favorites from Market. And I'm stitching it on the called for fabric with all of the called for colors. It's kind of hard to see because it's, I believe it's Dulce de Leche, and the border part kind of blends in. But these are the colors. They're super bright and fun. And I just started at the top and then was kind of working around. So I love this piece. It's very pretty. So I'm hoping I'll get back to that soon, at some point. And that was a Market release. This was also from Market, Tomato Sampler by Plum Street. And the called for colors. I just have a tiny, I started in the middle. I'm using the called for, which is Affogato. And I have a tiny start on that. This is a very small sampler, small in size, but just like all of Paulette's pieces, it has a lot of stitching in it. So definitely full of goodness. This would be a fun piece to bring out August time. The colors they're like summer, but they're also fall. So I'll get that back out. I also had, it was kind of, I was wanting patriotic. So, oh, this is the most pathetic of starts. I did restart Flag Thief. I previously had started it on 32 count, and it was just, the coverage was not very good. And I since had gotten some 36 count Affogato, and so I restarted it on that. But again, this is all the patriotic things I'm going to carry over to be working on a little bit each month in the coming months. So that was another start in March. This I did not write down, but I know I started this. I want to say it was in March. I was kind of waiting for market to come. And so I have a tiny start on this. This was a kit I got from Country Sampler. This is Spring Basket Pin Keep by Stacy Nash. Let me see if I can. I don't want to open the plastic if I don't have to, or any more. I'm trying to limit the sound. Then let me put this back. This was one of my favorite. It is still one of my favorites. Is Holly Mrs. Jones Stitches. She had converted Winter is Past to a color and cotton bright conversion, and I loved it so much, so I ordered it. And this is how far I got. This is on, oh goodness gracious, I want to say it's Cafe au Lait by Fiber on a Whim. And I bought the conversion from Color and Cotton. And so what I have still to do, I got all I need to do, there's a another border stitch here and the side, and then I pretty much just have this bottom part to be doing. So if I do not get back to this year, I will for sure be bringing this out at the beginning of next year. But I love everything about this. I love the blues, but I also just adding the pinks and the flowers really made me want to stitch on this. So I will get back to this for sure. And it was fun because I was stitching on this over spring break when I was at the beach. So I have fond memories of that. The next was this. I have a very tiny start. This is Jessie Challoner by Hands Across the Sea. And this is on 40 count cow fodder. And I'm using the muted color palette, and I just in the 103s, and I just have a tiny start right in the middle. And I did change this flower to more of a pink. And let me see if I wrote it down on here, what I did. Yes, it is $4.94 by and it's a 103 from Averiswa. So from when Nicola showed this, I had been waiting for it to come out. And I've talked about this before, but my name is Jessica, but my whole life, and even some friends still call me Jessie. And so when this was the first Jessie sampler spelled this way that I saw from Nicola, and I had to have it. I love the muted, which is the front. And then since I have gotten the Bright and Beautiful box, which has some of the other Jessie samplers, and I want to get those going as well. Okay. And then I also started in March, I started Come Into My Garden, and I'm on the fence about this, which is why I haven't repicked it up. What I want to do. I'll probably at least keep this color if I do decide to change back. But I converted it, which I love the colors. I can't decide if I want to keep them. I converted them to more of a spring palette opposed to some of these darker colors. I did not get very far because I was unsure. So I can't decide what I want to do. Keep the spring palette I chose from Color and Cotton, mix, kind of go back. If anything, I'll probably keep this mesquite color in the border. But I don't know. I haven't decided. And I might keep the greens and the teal and then like darken up some of the pink. I don't know. So this is a start. I have loved this chart for a long time. So I really want to get it right because I want to have it up. And this is 40 or 36 count vellum from Picture This Plus. And then I didn't write this down either. I know I started it. I don't know when I started it. This is Merrily, Merrily We Welcome Spring. And this was kind of a on the whim. I saw Lori Holt and Christy were starting this, and I did not get very far, but I love it. And this was another. I've loved it for a long time. I am using the called for colors on this, and this is on 36 count Duxbury by Fox and Rabbit. And this is how far I got. So pretty. So this one is Christy Crosshatch Quilts. She was talking on her latest video that she's using this as her like 1 or 2 strands a day stitch that she stitches on before she starts anything else. And I thought that might be a good idea to at least trying to get this top part done. So I might pull this out and use this, like kind of go between this and Floral Motif Sampler. Because this is quite a large piece. And many other people I've seen, Sandy Whispered Stitches, she was stitching on it. Carol Crosshatch Quilts, or Carol Saltbox Stitcher was stitching on it. All right, then my next start was from the book Sarah's House. This is out of print. I was able to find it at retail from an online shop. They don't have any more. So I started this one, which is called Flock of Friends, I think. Yeah, A Flock of Friends. It's the smaller version. And I also want to do the little flower basket, and it's teeny tiny start. But I did buy all the Belle Soie silks, which are really pretty. And this is on it's a color in cotton. Oh, here, it's right here. Fawn Pale. So just a teeny tiny start. But a start it helps me. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by too many, but then I like to have them because it's helpful and I just can pick it up and I know where, sorry for the glare. I know where I am. Okay, I also worked and started, this is Tribute to Summer by Stacy Nash. I'll have to put a picture in because I don't have the cover. It was a PDF and I didn't print that part. This is on the called for fabric, which is cocoa. I did change up, the border is supposed to be apple cider, I believe, and I switched the leaves to be endive. But this was a fun start, and I recently have gotten back to this a little bit more. It's a small sampler of hers. This was from Market. This is a French Summer Sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler, and I just thought the colors were really pretty. And this is on 36 count Cappuccino. It's very pretty, pale. I might get this one back out, actually. It's not Christmas, but put it in my sampler. It's so pretty and very delicate. And I love this linen too. So I need to cut off what I need and then, but this is this piece. It's just simple, very, like I said, delicate. It's really pretty. All right, I have to do that in a minute. I also started this with my friend Rika at the Hobby House retreat. We started in friendship together. Very small start. It's on the called for linen, which is Patriots Brew. And here's the colors. So, and for the up here at the, I'm going to do only the words, not the black fill-in. And yes, that's just telling you what that is. And then my last start that I had in April, which this was like a restart for my middle daughter's birthday. This is the sampler I wanted to do for her. And I did not like the color that it was on, or that I started it. And so I ended up changing to, I believe this is Barb's blend, and changed the colors up a little bit. So I did get a little bit of a start on the bottom here. And again, this is like the Anniversaries of the Heart. It's an easy Blackbird piece to pick up and work on. And I just want to get it done. I was, like I had shown, able to get the one for my other daughter done. So I'd like to try to get this one done for her. Okay, so that gets me through April. Then have had a lot of starts. However, when I was adding them up, I have twice as many starts as finishes. So, I mean, I kind of feel like it's not a huge amount more than finishes. But I'm just going to start kind of showing the ones I did start, because so I am doing a stitch along with Mrs. Jones Stitches, Holly and Nicole Sport. They kind of have taken a break, or at least Holly said she did. I'm stitching this on 36 count Spindrift by Cedar River, and these are my colors, and this is where I've gotten to. So you can see I did decide to use cattail for the this way for the house, so it can still be like a white color, but you can see it a little bit better. And the photo is really hard to see, but I'm going to keep this in my rotation, even though I think they're both taking or at least Holly said she's taking a break on it, and then we'll see what happens. I also started, which I don't know if I have the picture of this or not. I don't think I do. This is Stables at Hollyberry Farm. And I started this on 40 count gray by Weeks Dye Works, which is what Christy from the Half Pone Stitchers, she was using, and just love it. I did change up the flowers a little bit, but love this. And again, it's a Stacy Nash, which this year I'm trying to work on Stacy Nash, and kind of focusing, I should say, on Stacy Nash and Plum Street. This is a daily reminder, which I just recently showed this. I restarted it on the lighter fabric, and am pretty sure I'm going to use most of the called for colors. I might add this blue in. We'll see. Love this one. All right, we're getting there. This is When Flowers Blossom, and I was looking for some summery stitching. So this is on, oh goodness, some of these I forgot to write down what they were on. I believe that this is, I think this is Sleeping Bear. Oh, this was actually, I bought from Rachel at Needle and Flax. I bought some of her orphan fabric, and this was a piece of her orphan fabric. And I'm pretty sure it's Sleeping Bear. There's nothing wrong. Were a few little dots on some of the other pieces. There's even like one right here. But where my stitching is going to be, you're not even going to be able to see it. So, and I just started in the middle on this one. Oops. In the middle with the girl. So that's fun. We also I have had these for a while, and I decided to start one of the cereal bowl collection, lesson 3. This, however, had purple in it, and I wanted to change, or purple-ish. I changed it to cherry cobbler and crab cakes instead of the cappuccino and Wisconsin wood. So I just started over here, and oops, can't see, over here, and I'm going this way. And I have all of these cereal bowl lessons, and so I just put them all in a bag, and I'm gonna, when I feel like working on a small Plum Street, I can pull that out to work on. I also, which I've shown this recently, started working on Thy Love More Strong. Oops. Which I just showed this, and talked about it. This is on 36 count Overcast by Cedar River Linen. And so that is that one. I also decided the other day to start from the Sweet Bird Sing. I started this pillow, and it's on the called for fabric. So I just have the border started, and this is these fun colors, and this is on the called for fabric. So that's a small little start. Now that July started and I'm doing some Christmas and July stitching, some of these pieces are probably going to be set aside until July is over, but I will get back to them. I also started from the Sewing Club book. I started the Housewife, which let's see if I can find the picture. This chart. Hollyhocks were always there. So this piece. And I want to say that's on Overcast. Yes, a Cedar River Overcast. I have also Grand Old Flag by Brenda Gervais, and this is on the called for fabric, which is Legacy by Picture This Plus with the called for colors. And Chantel from 141 Design, she just shared her finish of this, and she has a really fun finishing piece. I am going to do it similar but different to how Brenda shows as a needle. She has it as a needle book. So I'm going to, when that gets done, that'll be on my list of finishes. I also started with Tara Sully Stitches. Oops. She was doing a stitch along for Spooky Summer, and I decided to get Salem Sampler started. And this is on the called for linen, which is Gallow Hill by Plum Street with the called for threads. So very fun. And my goal in the next month or so, probably, like I said, not in July, is to get this top part figured out, and then the rest can be for fall. I have some other fall whips that I really want to be focusing on when I get to fall stitching. I haven't really gotten there yet, so we will see when we get there. This is also part of it, it would be a finish, so I should have shown this. Oops, in the finish section this is Grand Old Flag 2 by Brenda, because she had the one I just showed, which was Grand Old Flag. So I did finish this pillow, and then I started the flag pillow. And this is on 36 count cream and sugar. And I did change the colors to Milady's Teal, Licorice Red, and Prairie Grass to be more of a blue. Hers is Tartan Plaid, which is kind of a teal. It's really pretty, but someone had shared with me these colors, and I thought I'd use those. So that was another finish I forgot about. But a fun, more patriotic to put in my patriotic stitching area. I also started Fleur de Noël, and I changed this to be stitching it in patriotic colors, and this is on 36 count Beach Brew by R&R. So I have a tiny start on this. This one is Eliza Poole by another Stacy Nash. I started. Very tiny start. I was trying to see if I liked this linen. This is 36 count Dolly Madison by Needle and Flax. Not if I liked the linen, but if I liked the color. So I do like this. And this is another Stacy to get back to. Lots of Stacy Nash and Plum Street, like I said, because of my year of Stacy and Plum Street. I have this going, which is from the Summer Schoolhouse series. I haven't done any more than when I previously showed it. This is on 40 count mocha, I think. No, mushroom, I'm sorry. So instead of using the 28 count and doing it over one, I decided to just get the 40 count. So, and I keep seeing these in people's pictures, and it makes me want to have them stitched. And of course, it's not done, but that's okay. And then this was my piece from the Farm Girl Gathering Retreat. So of course I started this, and this is how far I have gotten. And I know in the fall I will get back to wanting to stitch on this. There's so many other things that were calling my name, but I absolutely love this, and I can see myself kind of getting into it and continuing to stitch it. So this is all ready to go. Let's see. I did start as another page. I was on a massive start. Not that I didn't start a lot, or I don't start a lot normally, but in May and June, I was just starting all the things. I started this one from the Blackbird Design book, and let me find which one. Here it is. So I just have the house going. This is on 36 count gray by Weeks Dye Works. So, and these are the colors. And again, going in my patriotic bag for my patriotic stitching. And on that note, I am not really sure. Someone was asking me what I was going to do, and I have not fully decided if I am going to only or stitch how my patriotic stitching is going to be going. So that more to come on that. I don't feel like I can make a commitment right now, and that's okay. So we'll see what kind of evolves. This one I started for Flag Day with Katie from So Tattered. And this is on 36 count Pyrite by Cedar River. And this is Plant of Rapid Growth. I also have Sarah's, oh goodness gracious, Sarah's Sewing Bag. And this is on 36 count Flax. It goes like this. By just a plain Zweigart. And the colors. Summer at Hollyberry Farm. And this I started back in May because I have my lovely, have all my keychains from my kids I put on as my floss bling. This is on 36 count Dry Toast by Kitten Stitcher, or her son, Graham from Wabi Sabi. I love this color for this piece. I cannot wait to get back to more of this. I've seen a lot of people starting this. This could also be my large piece I try to get done by next year. We'll see. Like I said, having a hard time committing to an actual plan. I started on Memorial Day, Summer Moon. And this is how far I got. It's on Baked Clay by Fox and Rabbit with the called for colors. And that's the called for linen. I also, a sweet friend, she lent me the patchwork pin keep. And so I was working on that. This is the, that is this part, oops, this part of the pillow. And so I need to get back to that. It's not very big and could be a quick finish. So, and this is an out of print chart from Blackbird. I have, I think, 2 more to show, and then I'm pretty sure that's all. So this was also a very small start. This is a stitch, I don't know if they're done, Honeybee Sampler from Pansy Patch. This is the called for floss, creme brulee, and fabric from Roxy Floss Co. from Evertote. You can get it from Evertote. So that was hosted by Felicia Floss and Blocks, Jody Simply Stitching Ocala, and Jess from Como Stitches. And then this has been my most recent, what I've been working on the past few days. And this is Stacy Nash. And I should have ironed this one because this is what I've been doing. This is Stacy Nash Red. Here we go. Rose Hill Farm Sampler. And Christy from Half Pone Stitchers, she changed her barn to white. which is Arrowhead, and that's what I'm doing. So I have been working very hard on this and got the barn all outlined, have been filling the barn in, got the border bones. There's one more, I did a little bit of it over here. And this has been so fun working on the past couple days. So, and this is on 36 count Wren by Picture This Plus. She did hers on Hazelwood, which I also love that color too, but I just couldn't find that for myself. So that is what I have been up to this year. And that was a long video. And hopefully I didn't rush through it too much. I'm going to type all of this into the notes as to the finishes and the starts. And Nicole Spore does this. If I cannot put all of them on there, I will add them on the first comment if I run out of characters. But I'm going to put all the things in there so that hopefully I can, at the end of the year, I can go back and look and see from the starts in the next half of the year if I was able to finish any of them. And then I'm proud of myself for all of the things I did finish. And so my finishes, I had 23 finishes so far, either a fully finish or a lot of them were stitching finishes. So that was 23 finishes. And then I have, it's either 42 or 43 starts, which I know to some is a lot, and I will get back to them. I am periodically go through my whips and see, do I have things in here that I kind of don't really interest me anymore? Do I want to unkit them, keep them, what I want to do? And I have, in addition, which I know it's surprising, to the starts I've had, I have also stitched a lot on whips. I didn't pull out any of the whips that I stitched on. I just strictly did new starts to kind of have like a mid-year, this is what's going on. And then I wanted to just briefly talk about the rest of the year. So kind of looking ahead to the next half of the year. I have mentioned I'm doing Christmas in July. So next week I will have my regular scheduled video with I will share all of what I have started in the past week, worked on as far as Christmas goes. I might have a few Christmas finishes. We'll see what happens. I am doing one more retreat this year, Stitch Florida in July. I'm sorry, it's not in July, it's in September. That's hosted by Alicia, the Fanciful Flamingo, and Annie, the Proper Stitcher. And then I'm excited to get into fall stitching when fall comes. And also, I didn't share it, but my goal is still to get the floral motif sampler. I want to get that done. So I feel like I'll talk about that until it's finished, but that's definitely a big goal for this year, is to get that finished, which if I focused on it, it would be done. So I don't know why it's so hard for me to finish that, but it's one of my favorites and I want to get it done. So I did want to do a few giveaways, and these, along with the ones from my previous video, I will announce all of these winners next week. So in order to enter the giveaway, you need to be over 18. You need to be a US resident. You need to like the video and subscribe. And then my question is, I want to know what from my finishes and starts, what is your favorite piece? And if you can't pick one from who I stitch on, who is your favorite designer? So number one, and if you are interested in these, you need to just answer the question and then you put whatever the number is in the comments below. So number one is Key to My Heart. Number 2 is going to be both of these charts, Santa's Night and Christmas Village by Prairie Schooler. Both of these, this is number 2. You'll win both. Number 3 is Upon a Hill. Number 3. Number 4 is Pansy Patch Quilts. There's always a Jack in the Patch. That's number 4. And number 5 is, this is from Kitten Stitcher's Advent Box last year, Catherine Sheneman. So this is number 5. So again, if you're interested, make sure to like and subscribe, and then leave a comment as to what is your favorite finish or whip or start I have, which is now whips, and or who I have stitched on over the past 6 months. Who is your favorite designer from that? So until next Monday, I hope you enjoyed what I shared. I hope you found something inspiring. I hope you get a lot of stitching in. Have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.